If somebody, let's say somebody's watching this from overseas,
Right.
hasn't been to Melbourne before, what do they need to know?
The weather is volatile, but it is incredible food. It is incredible cultures. Like the coffee's brilliant, I would say. You know, all the universities in Melbourne are terrific with the Trobe. All of them sort of, what I would say to someone is each university has its own strengths. For example, I know La Trobe has a strength in archaeology, has a really good strength on nursing, like physical health sciences. It's something that we really do well at. Maybe if you want to do humanities, maybe you want to look at a different university. Just depends on what you want to do.
How good is this?
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, guys, this is Ramy. How are you, mate?
Good yourself. How you going today, Rob?
Good, mate.
Brilliant.
So you study at La Trobe,
I do.
third year economics.
I do. Yeah.
Mate, tell me what it's like to study at this place.
It's pretty good. For me, the proximity to home is really good. I live in the north, so this feels really good to get to campus in about 20 minutes. The teaching staff here are really good. A lot of them are quite invested in seeing you succeed and really seeing you like do well in your studies. I've had a lot of incredible tutors and lecturers who've really actually like sort of inspired me to do the things that I'm doing right now. So yeah, I would say like it's a good place to come and learn, and you know, it's quite accessible for people like myself. One of the few people in my family to go to university, son of migrants. So it's quite a common demographic for a lot of the Trobe students, is what I found. Rob?
Yeah, good on you, mate.
Yeah.
And so tell me more. You said like you've had people that have inspired you to do the things that get you involved in, things you're involved in. What are other sorts of things you're involved in?
Like this activism in like politics and things like that are my like interests, and I found that like some of my political tutors and things like that are really interested in like doing really interested in things that I was doing, and you can always have a yarn with them about it, and they would actually take the time to talk to you and things like that.
An institution like La Trobe compared to maybe some of the big universities in town here is that it feels like it's a bit more of a community. You know, you're probably a bit closer to your teachers than you might be at one of the monster universities elsewhere in Melbourne. Does that sound like a fair summary?
I've had that, like some people who study at Melbourne, for example, say that like they're quite detached from like their tutors and things like that, and they're quite detached from university. I guess what I've heard, and something that we're sort of working on in selection, is that other universities sort of do a better job at maybe sort of on-campus events and on-campus life.
Yep.
I understand it's quite tough after COVID for the universities and universities like La Trobe, but it's something that we want to sort of fight for, where we can get, you know, one thing we do have going for is that a student at La Trobe has a good relationship with the academics, and that you don't feel like they're in an ivory tower and they're like towering over. You feel like they're like one of you.
Nice.
But what definitely needs to improve is campus life at La Trobe. We want to have more events, extracurriculars, better clubs, more, more active clubs. That's what I'm
And so you're involved in student union right now?
Yes, I am. I'm currently the general secretary.
Oh, fantastic! Congrats.
Yeah, I was the vice president last year and the education officer before then.
Excellent.
And I started off as a volunteer.
And so what sorts of things have you guys been doing?
So there's a lot of things that we've done, and obviously we've been going around, for context, we've been going around talking to people on campus today. But we've opened up a food bank on campus, which feeds about 170 people a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so Tuesdays to Thursdays, we get about 170 students walking in our doors to get food. It's been really pivotal during the cost of living crisis that we're going through right now. What else we established the advocacy service. So for example, if you fail a subject or have been alleged to have cheated in your subject, we have professional staff that aren't employed by the university but employed by us. So there is that sense of independence. So we're able to sort of support you through that process, make sure you get a fair outcome, and sort of find the ways to get you back on track after something like that.
Nice. And why'd you choose economics?
I was sort of interested in like societal equity, and like how like people sort of, poverty and socioeconomic issues is sort of something I was interested in.
Huge topic right now, isn't it?
Yeah, we are. Like, we're just finding it that people are sort of going backwards under the current circumstance, especially students. Like, your wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Your new start, or now they call it job seeker or study, it's just nowhere near, what it needs to like survive as a student. So, it's quite. When I started it, I didn't really imagine how relevant it would be to what we're going through right now. So yeah.
Awesome. What else do you like about this place? If somebody, let's say somebody's watching this from overseas,
right,
hasn't been to Melbourne before, what do they need to know?
The weather is volatile, but it is incredible food. It is incredible cultures. Like the coffee's brilliant, I would say. You know, all the universities in Melbourne are terrific with the Trobe. All of them sort of, what I would say to someone is each university has its own strengths. For example, I know La Trobe has a strength in archaeology, has a really good strength on nursing, like physical and health sciences. It's something that we really do well at. Maybe if you want to do humanities, maybe you want to look at a different university. Just depends on what you want to do.
Good advice. So in terms of campus life then, what's it like being here on campus?
It's obviously very nature oriented. It's probably one of the more bushy or greener campuses in like metropolitan Melbourne, and it resembles a lot of like regional universities or like bush universities, we like to call them. So like there's a lot of greenery, there's a lot of like trees. If that's something you're into, you really like sort of the nice like nature environments, I would highly recommend.
That's a really good advice, actually. Yeah, because I mean, I've visited every uni in the country, and it does have that vibe of a regional uni.
It does,
but you are
in
just
Melbourne.
just on the outskirts of Melbourne. So it's really good.
The community here is quite diverse. It's incredibly diverse. There's people from all corners of the world, right? They come here to study from overseas. So that's what I would say.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It's something I've definitely picked up on the vibe here.
Yeah.
Awesome, diverse community. Feels very welcoming. Feels a bit like the world in general, right?
Yeah.
Like you do go to other institutions, which are a little bit like, this feels like the real world. It's nice.
It feels like it's a melting pot of Melbourne.
Exactly.
It feels like it is Melbourne in itself.
Anything else you want to say, Ramy?
You know, we're on campus, we're having elections. Elections are, quite common across universities. Each university will typically have a union or a student association. And we're just sort of doing our part to like keep that going and have an election and have ideas be contested and try to see what solutions we can provide to students, and that's the role we sort of play. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. I'm not trying to make this like a campaign video or something like that, but obviously just want to say that if you do come to La Trobe, you go to any university in Melbourne, expect to have like a democratic process every year. Some people get annoyed, we keep giving them things and things like that, but honestly, have a read into it. It can make the difference between having a food bank or not. There's essential services that really matter. So
since you wrote it, I'm glad you have, because I haven't done a video on this yet. For those people who might be watching this from overseas, have no idea what a student union is. What is a student union, and what does it do for students?
A student union is sort of the peak representative body on campus that's there to represent students' interests. And what we here at La Trobe, like most students around across the country, we're composed of elected representatives. The students will put their hand up each year to be elected, and once we're elected, we have different positions, and we sort of make up the student council, the student body, and we're just there to pretty much represent students. And if we run on a platform like we have like a food bank and an advocacy service, we try to work off that platform, and we try to say, well, we want to do X, Y, and Z. Student unions, typically, some are more activists in nature. They usually, go after issues like I said about like maybe raising job seeker or new or study. Those are sort of their focuses. Our focus is more oriented towards, student services and plus living classes. So that's what we're sort of about. Think of it as like a trade union, maybe.
So basically, if you need help on campus,
we're there to help you.
Student union is a good place to go for some help. Nice.
We're sort of made up of elected representatives, which is a bit of a difference.
Ramy, thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate it.